This is my mid-90s Suzuki RF600 that my wife bought me.
The unfortunate thing is, I decided this bike needed a nut and bolt refurbishment 2 house moves ago. So remembering where everything goes has been quite a challenge. And when it comes to the organisation of these parts, this is what past me thought was okay. And there are still some pretty crusty parts that need refurbishment yet. My current plan is to get this bike rebuilt so I have an understanding of what I need, what is there, what needs work and what doesn't. So I'm going to refit the fairing subframe. And I found 2 bolts here, but they're definitely not the right ones, as you'll see in a minute. When tightened down finger tight, there's just slightly too much movement. So I went back and found the others. And here's the engine. And after a half-hearted attempt at brushing it down and giving it a clean, it's time to fit it back into the bike. At this point, I just wanted it back in. Because I was on my own, I had to figure out a way of getting the engine in without any assistance. I had an idea that what I'd do is I'd lower the frame over the top of the engine and then attempt to lift the engine up, although I could foresee a problem where the engine wasn't quite high enough and the frame wasn't quite low enough. I had to loosen the bolts holding the clutch lever perch and the front brake master cylinder to gain access to the bolts holding the triple clamp in place. And I don't know if I fitted them, but holding the master cylinder reservoir in place are these 2 dome head stainless screws that look like they're about to strip out. I do replace them later on, but I don't think I got the footage of that. Lowering the frame wasn't too much of an issue. It just needed a bit of a wiggle and a bit of a move about to get it down. The sump on this engine isn't flat. All this engine ever wants to do is fall over on me. I'm surprised I haven't smashed more casings on this engine. And it's quite a thing to manhandle into place on my own. It's not that heavy, but it does have some weight to it. And it is a tricky thing to move about inside the frame. It was at this point that I realised the mounting brackets were on the wrong way round. So I quickly whipped those off and swapped them over. And no, I had no idea that I wasn't on this nut straight. And that's it. With the engine finally in, it's time to lift it back up onto the forks, tighten everything down and remove the jack. And this is it, the last bolt to tighten. Lower the jack and the engine's finally finished. Well, it's back in the bike anyway. It's going to need servicing, plumbing, electricals, everything. And there we have it. It's back in the bike. I can't describe how much of a milestone this really feels like for me. 2 years ago, I pulled this bike apart with the idea that it was going to be a quick 6-month project. But since I pulled it apart, I've moved twice. One of the moves was across the other side of the country. Moved barns twice and out of a garage, and I'm surprised I haven't lost more parts. Now to move on to the next job. I think I'm going to do the cooling system next. And then when I found the radiator, unfortunately it looks like this. So I'm going to have to work out what to do with that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.